Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This tank has now been wet 3 years and I thought it's time to do a little update. And things have not gone well. But before I get into it, I'm going to do a different style of video. This is unscripted. We're just doing a quick, point and shoot and not rehearsed. And hopefully it's still somewhat informative or entertaining. So, tank has not been doing well. Back in August, I just had a lot of die-off. I had a lot of STN, RTN at the base. Growth slowed down, color went down. I lost a lot of coral, which actually, made a little room for some new pieces, so that's been okay. But it was really frustrating. I couldn't quite figure out, what was causing the problem, and I still don't know to this day. I did a lot of water changes, and I hope that kind of helped. And then I also did some ICP tests. The one thing I did know is that, or I did learn, from the ICP test, is I had some elevated copper in my system. And through kind of reading on Reef to Reef and some other forums and talking with a couple of other hobbyists and experts in the field of reefing that I admire, a few others had said, I've found elevated copper in my system too, and I dose Flatworm Stop. So Flatworm Stop is a product from KZ. I've always dosed it. I've dosed it for 10 or 15 years now. It generally promotes a really nice polyp extension experience. Right after you dose it, within 30 minutes, I see a lot better polyp extension in my acros. And I just felt that anecdotally, I thought my corals looked better and healthier when I dosed it. So that's why I dosed it. But I stopped because after talking with others, this elevated copper issue I'm having, maybe it's related. I'm not going to say it is for sure. I don't know. I'm going to do another ICP test. It's hard, right? When you're doing a lot of water changes, when you're having problems, and you do your ICP test, it's hard to know, is that copper level going to build back up? Do I have some leaching magnets in my system, from the pumps or from these frag racks? I don't know. So we'll see. But I stopped the Flatworm Stop because there's been enough other people that said they found elevated copper in their system and they dosed it. And so there's an association there. And so I stopped it, and I've done a lot of water changes, and then I've stopped water changes recently. In the last 3 or 4 weeks, I haven't done any. And so I'm going to let the tank just kind of simmer, if you will, and then do another ICP. And if that copper level starts coming back up again, then I know I've got something in the tank, or maybe it's leaching from the rock. I don't know. We'll see. So the positive at this point, it's been a rough 6 months. I will say that. But you press on. It's part of the hobby. Things die, I guess. It's a little frustrating, for sure. But things have stopped dying now. Okay, so that's my biggest concern. There's the base recession on all my colonies has slowed down. I'm seeing some growth now, some improvement in alkalinity consumption. So I feel like I'm kind of, I'm on track. Okay, so I've done a lot of water changes to get things back on track. I don't know what caused all this to kind of go down. But the tank, as you can see, it's looking okay. Growth isn't great. Colors are not great. They're a little washed out, I would say. They don't quite have the pop they used to have, or what I would expect. But we'll get there. In terms of other changes, since I've last posted a video, for those of you that kind of follow my videos, it's been a while, so I apologize. But maybe with this unscripted approach where I can just do a quick video here and there, maybe I'll be a little more frequent and that will help. But in terms of changes to the system, the other thing I noticed on my ICP test was elevated phosphate level. And I should say elevated to me. It was nearly 0.2. And I know folks that run higher phosphate and their tanks do great, but I try to keep my phosphate below 0.1. 0.07 is kind of like what I target. And my HANA checker, I have a HANA checker that has been telling me that I've been in range. And so maybe my reagent's bad. I don't know. I haven't looked at it and what have you, but I don't kind of trust it right now. So I thought, how do I bring my phosphate level down? I know I can use GFO. I used GFO, 10 years ago. Your corals would get really pale and it would shock the system. It wasn't always great. So you have to be really careful. And what I've always found is if I can get phosphate levels down gently, then I have the most success. So water changes help, sure, but maybe my levels have been higher and now the rock's leaching a little bit. I don't know. So I did bring back on the Fuge. I brought it back online. So I have some Chaeto or however you call it in here, and it is growing rapidly. So clearly I have elevated nutrients. So it is growing rapidly. I pull out about, I don't know, a softball to a soccer ball size of Chaeto weekly, you know, so it's growing pretty good. And so I'm hoping that's a nice, gentle way to bring down my phosphates. In terms of the sump, no other changes in here. Still running the same old skimmer, undersized for sure, but I don't mind running an undersized skimmer. Usually I have problems keeping nutrients elevated, but skimmer's still doing great, virtually silent. I haven't cleaned it, as you can tell, in a year and a half, but yeah, still working great. So even though things have not done great, I'm still fragging here and there. Things still do touch, and I have to kind of get in here, and it's kind of a chore, you know, but it's fun. My biggest problem is this Walt Disney. It's a slow grower, and it's surrounded by these corals that I've had to trim. I've had to trim this. I can't get a great shot, but I have to get kind of this parameter around it every 2 or 3 months. I have to just, you know, cut out a parameter to keep it from having issues. Maybe I just need to take it out and move it somewhere else and put it on a frag rack. I don't know, but I'm getting a little tired of protecting it because I like bigger colonies. I like things that look cool from 6 feet back. So we'll see. You know, that's been kind of a chore, but things are still ongoing. As you can see, some of these pieces that I've had for the last 3 years, well, some of them are gone. First of all, I lost them. Others are way receded back. I cut way back a lot of them, and I was able to save quite a few of them. And I apologize for the shaky camera. So yeah, we're kind of in reset mode right now. I think things are stabilized. We've reset some corals, and hopefully by spring things grow in and look nicely. Again, I hope, knock on wood. Oh, one thing I did, I picked up this new magnet scraper from Santa Claus. It's definitely better than what I had. It's a Tunzi, I think that's how you say it. I love their pumps, but yeah, it's a pretty legit scraper. It's super strong. The magnet's super strong. It's kind of a workout. And I'm only running the plastic blade on it, but I may throw in the metal blade and go to town on this Coraline, which is kind of embarrassing how bad this Coraline is. And it's a sign of laziness, perhaps, or being too busy. And it's also a sign of I don't dare get near these seams on this Red Sea tank because, as many of you know, the Red Sea tanks are not having the greatest reputation right now with leaks and around their seams. So I've kind of stayed back and away from the seam. But maybe I'll go to town on that with a metal scraper and clean things up if I get motivated, once I get some color and growth back in this tank. Oh, the other difference or major change that I made, just real quickly, is I brought Calcluster back online. I only run it at night though, and it helps with pH for sure. And I just had this little, it says do not touch. My kids probably touch this all the time. It's a little Versa pump, so it just doses really slowly at night. I'm dosing 2-part, and it's quite expensive. And I was dosing up to 165 milliliters a day. And so by dosing just the Calcluster at night, yes, I offset the pH. That's nice. And I also save a little money. I don't have to dose as much 2-part. So I think I'm dosing around 100 mils right now a day of the ESV Bionic. So that's kind of the update. After the 3 years that this tank has been wet, it's definitely seen better days, and I'm hoping to get things back on track and get this filled back in nicely. But anyways, folks, thanks for coming along with my journey. We're 3 years in, and we're still going. We'll see how long I can last with this tank. The idea is to upgrade before it leaks. Thanks again, everybody. Happy reefing. Peace.